Hello everyone. Today I noticed two news about China and the United States in the field of high technology. President Biden signed the executive order on China investment restrictions on August 9. The order will strictly restrict investment in the sensitive technical fields of the United States and ask the U.S. company to inform the U.S. government about investment in other scientific and technological fields. While at the same time, Chinese network giant companies are buying a large-scale A800 chip from NVIDIA. The total number of high-performance chips purchased by Chinese technology companies has reached $5 billion. I was shocked to see these two messages. I still don't understand how the United States, as the benchmark of the market economy, has repeatedly violated the market economy in recent years, and at the same time constantly accused China. By the way, I am Chinese, so please excuse my bad English. The market economy and the principle of fair competition that the US has always advocated. I am very worried about the wanton destruction of the industrial chain by the US government. Free trade is beneficial to everyone. In fact, the technological and economic level of the United States is absolutely ahead of China. I don't know why the US is so afraid of China's development, or the US government or the American people, and I'm not sure. Anyone who has studied history knows that many technologies developed by China were completed under the restrictions of the United States. In fact, US restrictions have also hurt other countries, some of which are US allies. South Korean senator, former Samsung executive said, "The US sanctions on China's chip industry have led to a decline in South Korea's chip output. It may prompt China to provide greater support for the industry. Given China's sufficient talent and raw materials, it may pose a threat to South Korea's chip industry." AI chips, AI technology. There is a lot of data in China. Every Chinese person has a mobile phone. One person even has 2 or 3 mobile phones. This is called data. These data include driving habits. These data of Chinese electric car driving habits. This is AI. What do you think AI is? No data, no matter how much CPU or GPU you have, what's the use? Data is AI. AI needs to learn. China's future AI will surpass the United States. So the United States is actually restricting its own future. China's economy, US economy, the world's economy. Because of the technology war. It affects the recovery of the entire world's economy. I will talk about my opinion. In fact, the US sanctions against China. You can see from the chip sanctions. It is difficult for the United States to limit China's development. The latest data released by China in June. The domestic chip output is 3.25 billion chips. 5.7% increase in the same ratio. Increases have been achieved in the past 4 months. Increases are significantly faster. These chips are 28 nanometers or more mature process chips. Over 70%. This chip has a feature that is low profit, but high trading volume. And it is mainly used for daily use. Like smartphones, electric cars, military hardware, including some civil equipment. The main ones are about 28 nanometers. And some high-end chips like the US sanctions against China, including 7 nanometers, 4 nanometers or so. In fact, China's purchasing capacity is limited. More than 70% of the chips used in China are still about 28 nanometers. So China is actually able to produce it domestically. The chips that Chinese people use a lot. In fact, China is self-sufficient. China can produce it by itself. From this situation, you can analyze. In the future, China will also limit the United States, including some key mineral resources. In addition, China also has its own technology in many areas. These technologies will also limit the United States to the West. China limits the West. At the same time, China can produce its own chips. More than 70% of the large number of chips. China can produce large numbers of chips. No need to import. So high-end chips can be traded with the United States. To be exchanged. Why? Because the United States also needs to obtain a system from China. So the United States has to trade with China. The final result of this transaction. Trade comes and goes. China can still obtain technology and chips from the West. Humans have never limited technology. No empire can limit technology. China limited silk at that time. It was still caught in the Western missionary. It was caught in the Bible. Bring back to Europe and Italy. Finally, the mulberry tree was planted and the silk was produced. Do you think you can keep the technology a secret? The past silk production technology. The Chinese porcelain technology. 10 centuries, right? 1,000 years, 1,500 years. This technology is enough for you to eat for 1,000 years. 1,500 years. The technology is too fast to be outdated. One generation in 10 or 20 years. You're still waiting to eat the old man. Research a technology. And then rely on this technology to keep eating. Impossible. What's the use of limiting things in the United States? What about you limiting these technologies? Even if it's outdated. China is also developing in the future. What do you do after the end of the era? Are you still limited? The limit is your own company.